Let me tell you a public square. There are several lines that meet other edges.
The youth of this country who are already in a disenchanted state will be encouraged.
Where we talk about the fine margins. Sometimes it's black, white, and blurry.
It's also informed by the need to save costs and reduce legislative time.
And then there are the actors, right at the center, coming through political processes, which could be dramatic.
To be a state of dismal if Parliament does not rise this morning.
And controversial.
If driving to the roads is engaging the macabre, compatibility is that of government.
And there's you to help connect the dots from the top to the bottom. Join Rotimi Sankore and Arogo Obo at the public square every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. 99.3 Nigeria Info.
And welcome to another episode of the Public Square 99.3 Nigeria Info, where we talk about everything happening in politics and development and all the big issues we'll be looking at today on the Public Square. Rotimi Sankore is here, and together with a great panel to look at local government development. I'll run through our guest today, but before I run through our guest panelists for today's discussion, you can join the conversation on Public Square on our social media handles at Nigeria Info FM, at Public Square NG, at Rotimi Sankore, at Aoro Obo. If you have any comments and questions and anything you want to contribute to the show, we'll let you know where we open the lines and also through our WhatsApp platform. We have with us today Monday Ubani. It was from Monday Ubani. It was from a second vice president, Nigeria Bar Association. Good to have Monday Ubani here with us. Adebayo Oshiko Maya, Jebu East Central LCDA from Ogun State, which is a case study for our discussion today. Great to have you join us on Public Square. And Georges Baknobosido needs to know, he needs no introduction. He's political editor, Nigeria Info. Great to have Georges here. And our host, Rotimi Sankore.
Thank you.
Thanks, Thank you.
All right.
So, if you'd like to watch, I forgot to say.
Yeah, we're live also too. You know, these days of
live on Facebook,
you see
live on YouTube, and I hope Twitter.
Yes, a lovely studio. You can see everyone live, beaming, impressively.
Yes,
Monday Ubani.
Nigeria Info Innovation.
That's correct.
Okay, so it's a blockbuster one. Wow. I think, to me, this is the biggest governance topic in the country.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Because it's arguably one of the most systematic sources of corruption. So, our big question, why are some new state governors sacking democratically elected local government chairs and officials? You remember that a couple of months ago, both on the idea segment with Ayo Obe and on the main Public Square, we discussed the new National Financial Intelligence Unit regulations on local government funds and how those directives will impact governance at the local government level. You will also recall that that notice was that from June the 1st, 2019, that disbursement of funds to the local government should be credited directly to the local government accounts, and that states should cease to participate in meddling in local government accounts. You will also recall that we went through the figures in Lagos State with billions of naira being involved in Lagos. Billions. Today we are focusing on Ogun State, where the new governor has, should we say, dismissed, if such a thing is possible, or sacked democratically elected local government officials. It's incredible. Anyway, we'll get into the details as we go along, but let me welcome again our guests. Now, so the first question is that when were you, in quotes, dismissed by the House of Assembly and Governor?
That happened by directive, by House resolution on the 31st of May 2019.
Okay. So, roughly 10 days before the NFIU
directive took
yes,
effect.
it was to take effect.
Yeah.
Okay. Who sponsored this bill?
Well, it would have been the state government.
So it's a state,
Yeah.
it's an executive resolution, more or less,
Yeah.
and read by members of the
8th House of Assembly.
okay. All right. So roughly 10 days before the NFIU directive was to kick in, you and your colleagues were removed.
Purportedly suspended.
Okay. And you are resisting this.
Definitely. Because
Okay.
it is unconstitutional.
Okay. I mean, this is the equivalent of the president suspending some governors,
Which would not happen.
which cannot happen.
Cannot happen.
Yeah, because you are democratically elected.
Thank you.
What is the purported reason for this?
Okay, so let me just quickly give you a brief. We woke up on the 31st of May and we realized that the new government under the leadership of Prince Dapo Abiodun, through the 8th House of Assembly, that had 1 week to the expiration of his tenure, suspended the 57 local government and LCDA chairmen in Ogun State. Sadly, the 8th House of Assembly that suspended the 57 of us, including all, this does not have to do with chairmen only. It has to do with the 57 council chairmen, 57 vice chairmen, 57 SLGs, and 349 councillors. So they purportedly suspended us for gross misconduct and misappropriation of public funds. The same 8th House of Assembly had carried out 2 oversight functions across all the local governments and LCDAs in Ogun State and gave everybody a pass mark. This is on record. So for them, they just turned around under the directive of the governor, because we have the speaker on record where he said, well, he was leaving the script of the governor.
So the same House of Assembly
Had previously
had given all of you pass mark, and then
turned
turned around very, very shortly, 1 week before the directive is to kick in, and at the very end of their tenure. So they can't take responsibility for their actions. They just did the, in quotes, the dirty work,
and they left.
and then they left.
Then the question we should also now be asking is, has Ogun State been complying with the NFIU directive? Because if the elected chairmen are not in office, how have they been spending the funds allocated to the local government and the LCDs?
Is it fair to say that this is a chess move for the money?
Of course.
The state government is going after the local government funds.
Of course, and the funds are currently being spent.
Undemocratically.
Exactly.
Okay, let's come to Monday. So, you wrote this very detailed article, published just yesterday. I was reading it in the legal
Okay. This man,
in the legal publication.
I was wondering when you were mentioning that you read the article. I said, I know it's published only in the legal this and all that.
Yes.
I didn't know that you also, that's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah. Impact of financial autonomy on development of the good. Yes, I read it. Yeah. Very detailed one. Yes.
Okay. So published just yesterday.
Yes.
In the legal newsletter.
Yeah.
And you made a big point there. That. Let me quote you there.
That's right.
Okay. So you underlined, you said, through the ubiquitous state local government joint accounts, the allocations for local governments have been spent as the state governments deem fit, and this has grandly defeated the idea behind the third tier of governments, as the local governments have been reduced to mere appendages that satisfy the desires of the state.
That's correct.
The situation in Ogun State, does it reflect what you wrote here?
All over the country. What I wrote, there is no state that is spared. There is no state that is innocent of all these allegations. Not even Lagos State. They've been there. They've been dipping their hands into the federal allocation that is actually meant for the development of the local government areas. All of them. And the funny thing is that these guys are acting in clear breach of the Constitution, and then they will be the one shouting that the NFIU directive is clearly in breach of the Constitution. The joint account was created for a purpose. All the federal allocation comes into that joint account. Then the state has to bring their counterpart funding and join the federal allocation, and then ensure that the money goes to local government administration. All of them forget that. There is a particular subsection 8 of that section 162 of the 1999 Constitution as an amended says anytime that money comes in from the federal allocation in that joint account, the state also has to bring their own funding and join that account before they now give to local government for them to administer their local government areas.
But what happens now is
what happens is that the federal government allocation that comes in, the governors put their hands into it and then call the local government chairman or sometimes caretaker, unelected caretaker committee chairman and say, this is what I'm going to give you. Maybe they ask them to sign 160 something million naira that has come as federal government allocation. They can give him 10 million and then keep 140 million for themselves and not ask the guy to go and spend that with salary and all that. That's why most of them are still in arrears of salary in their local government area. They're owing salary, they and all that. So they do all the states. So they don't even talk about their own counterpart funding they're supposed to add to the money that has come from federal allocation. They rather tamper with the federal government allocation that
so
comes
not
in.
only do the state governments not add what
they
are supposed to
they now
add,
dissipate the one that
they
federal
now
government beautiful.
capture the one from the local government
That
as well.
That has been the sin of all the governors.
Thereby depriving the third tier
That is why there is
of
no
its
development.
capacity.
Bro, no development in any of the local government areas in Nigeria. There is no area in Nigeria you go and say this is what the local government area has actually, put up as a structure. Nothing. There is no governance. And of course, it's affecting the country. This issue of state of insecurity, issue of lack of economic activity at the local government has now driven every person into the town. That's why you have all manner of robbery. That's why you have all manner of kidnapping. So you now want the federal government now to be the one to be in charge of security even at the local government level. You can imagine if the local government councils, all the local government areas have actually minded the security environment in all the local 774. Then there will be nowhere for the federal government to come in. So everyone will be secured.
Well,
but because of lack,
if I may just remind listeners, the NFIU report actually stated that this capture of local government funds by state governments is one of the key causes of insecurity and conflict in multiple local governments. The NFIU report stated that.
Beautiful.
So it's not your opinion.
So there is no governance at the local government level. As long as there is no governance at that level, there is no way you can have a country that is functional. Nigeria is completely dead because there is no administration at the local government level. The tier is dead completely. There is no single administration at that level. And you want the country to function? You want the country to be, to be alive? Nigeria is dead because the money that's supposed to go to the local government areas are not going there. And so, there's no security, there is no economic activity whatsoever. because people will even want to stay in the villages, and then keep life and all. But all of them want to go to Port Harcourt, come to Lagos, come to Aba, and then leave the local government at the only the old men.
So there's a huge governance
gap.
Okay, all right. We'll come back in a few minutes. We have to take a commercial break, but when we come back, we'll look in more detail at the situation in Ogun State. Please stay tuned.
All right, we'll be right back right after this.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
All right, welcome back. It is 26 minutes to 5, hot and humid a day in Nigeria's economic capital. I'm Aogo Obo, and the rest of the crew still here on the Public Square, where we are talking about local government, politics, and all that's happening with the Ogun State situation here. Public Square is being streamed live on our Facebook as well as YouTube page. So go on those platforms and watch live what's happening. If you got comments, you can also drop them there where the discussion is happening. On Twitter, our handles on Twitter, Public Square NG at Nigeria Info FM, at Rotimi Sankore, and at our Obo. Still have Monday Ubani. Monday Ubani is former second vice president, Nigeria Bar Association. Adebayo Shikomaya, who is executive chairman in Jebu East Central LCDA, Ogun State. Georges Magnobusedo, political editor, Nigeria Info. Rotimi Sankore, host.
Thank you, Aho.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Honorable Adeba, apologies, we had to take the commercial break. So, let's get down to the cocoa of the matter. How much is at stake here? In your LCDA, what is roughly the monthly allocation?
Okay, so I want to take it from the local government level.
The 20
local governments.
And then the LCDA.
The LCDs.
Your
yeah.
LCDA, okay.
Yeah, in the month of June, my local government, which is my mother local government, which is Jebu East local government, got 144,632,000. So if we were to have a sharing formula of say 45% to the LCDs, my LCDA will get about 65 million. So let me quickly tell you, real through some information that I have for that month. The highest local government in Ogun State is Adodo, Ota local government. And the allocation for that month was 257,779,020.73.
257 million.
Yeah, 257 million. Going by this record, the lowest local government in Ogun State in that month got 112 million.
Okay.
So you can have an idea of what's
Over 100 million each.
over 100 million. There's no local government in Ogun State that got less than 100 million.
Okay. So it's safe to say that at least 2 billion.
Sure.
Over 2 billion naira a month
is what comes to
the 20 local governments.
Yes.
So if this is a grab for the money, it's a grab for 2 billion naira a month. More or less.
Exclusive of the IGRs generated by the local governments.
Yeah, there's IGR too.
Because in Ogun State also, what you would have seen the 8th House of Assembly, from the 7th Assembly to the 8th Assembly, which is also continuing with the 9th Assembly now, is that you see that the House of Assembly has usurped, giving the state governments the powers to collect the primary IGRs of the local government.
In addition to this allocation.
In addition to this, yes.
That IGR would roughly be what in a month?
Well, you can have some local governments do about 3 million.
Okay.
On the average, depending on what revenues you have. This ranges from motor parks, primary health centers, collectibles from primary health centers, from National Union, several allocations, tenement rates, private tenement rates, different what's it called, IGRs that local governments should ideally collect.
Right. So just to recap, well over 2 billion.
Well over 2 billion.
All right. So what, for the benefit of listeners that don't know what local governments do, what services do you provide?
Okay, let me start with let me take
what services are you supposed to provide that you are now unable to provide?
Let me start from where Barrister Obani stopped. First, the local governments are supposed to be responsible for primary security of each of their domain. One, the primary health centers are supposed to be fully under the control of local governments. So the state government,
that's the first point of call for all health issues.
All health issues. That's where you have birth certificates being issued and all of it. So the state government will take care of general hospitals, while the local governments will take care of primary health centers. Then the local governments are responsible for running, maintaining of primary schools within their local government, public primary schools. And as you know, everybody tells us that they want to give us free education, and that's where it all starts from. So it's a foundational level. So just to emphasize the importance of what local governments are.
No primary education, no education.
No education. You can't. That's the foundation for every one of us, even every one of us sitting here. That is that. Then the local governments are also supposed to be responsible for markets within local markets within their domain, within their local governments. What do I mean? So the local government is supposed to determine where to set up markets, and if those markets are traditional markets that are already running, you are supposed to be responsible. The local governments are responsible for organizing, maintaining the structures of chieftaincy titles. So when you have obas within your local government, it falls within the purview and the control of local governments. So you can understand that it also has to do with tradition and all of those things. Then you go to motor parks, road unions. So these days that you find that all road union levies go to the state level or ends up in someone's pocket, all of those things are supposed to be within the purview of the local governments. The local governments are also responsible for street naming, grading, maintaining of roads, hard roads within your local government. Right. The companies within your local government are supposed to pay what is called rates to the local government where they exist, and you are also supposed to be the one interfacing to see that employment and all of those things come to people who are within your local government. So that's some of what the local governments are.
So the initial pass mark, that was given to you and your colleagues, by the state government. Is it the previous state government?
The previous House of Assembly.
The previous House of Assembly.
The 7th and 8th House of Assembly.
So the previous pass mark that you were given suggests that to a reasonable degree you were actually fulfilling these functions.
Yes, in light of resources available.
Not that you and your colleagues were just whacking the money.
No. In light of resources made available.
Okay. So you got pass mark.
Yes.
From the House of Assembly.
From the House of Assembly.
So, in other words, damage to the local government means damage to primary health, damage to primary education, damage to the road network, and damage to local government security and so forth.
Fantastic.
Serious matter. So, Monday.
Yeah.
You described, you used very strong words in this your piece that was published yesterday.
I wish it can be published in a national newspaper.
Yes. You described the action of many of the state governments as the rape of the local governments.
It's pure rape.
Can you elaborate?
Oh, I've said it before. The money that comes to the local government, we call it the federal government allocation that comes monthly, as I said earlier, supposed to go to the local government pause for administration of local government areas. What the governors do is that they come up with all manner of charges in order to take the money away from the local government chairman. They say, oh, we are now going to be in charge of education. They will take money for education, take money for chieftaincy, take all the responsibility that is supposed to be done by the local government area, council. They now assume it. And then even the IGR that is mentioned, they call it land use charge. They're supposed to be collecting the tenement rate. They now call it land use charge. It's now Lagos State government that is collecting on behalf of the local government council. And it's wrong. And so they now tell you that, we do all these things for you, including road. The road that's supposed to be done by the local government council is being done by the state. So at the end of the day, it's completely rape.
Which is not only inefficient,
yes,
it's also...
It's not when they remember you.
Yes.
There is no level of measuring because it's when they remember you.
Because they are too far.
Yeah, they're too far. So the closeness of local government to every person is what we should have leveraged on in order to ensure good governance in Nigeria.
One of the things you called for in this your piece, and I recommend it for everybody. Yes, we'll tweet it after the program.
Thank you very much.
We'll tweet it from at Public Square NG.
Sir. Thank you.
One of the things you recommended in your write-up is that INEC should take over the...
Yeah, because that is where I start.
Should take over conducting elections.
Yeah, because it's sham election they conduct at the local government level.
Because
by the state independent.
I've not seen a local government election recently where the ruling state government did not win 57-0.
They call it landslide, moving moonslide. Yeah, that's it. Even though some constitutional lawyers will tell you that, asking INEC to do that is clearly a breach of federalism, federal principle and all that. But you see, Eneke the bird says that since men have learned to shoot without missing, the Eneke has learned to fly.
This is from Chinua Achebe.
Yeah, Chinua Achebe, without perching. We're having issues with our peculiarities. Our things about Nigeria is very peculiar. So it's not a normal country. So it's not a country you use as an example to define certain principles, either in political economy or ours is quite different. So due to the fact that things are different from Nigeria, that's why we begin to recommend things that does not conform to normal things, is abnormal. But that is only where we can get some level of solution. So what we're saying, if the State Independent Electoral Commission is not independent in the sense of that word, and I've never conducted an election in which you can really say this is a credible election. Since we got got independence and all that. Why don't we now try something else by allowing INEC itself to come in and conduct election at the local government level and see and compare and contrast?
Okay, but even when the local government officials are democratically elected,
yes,
and the governors then decide to sack all of them,
yes,
in quotes,
yes.
What is the solution to that unconstitutional action?
Well, if you have a very serious attorney general of the state, he will or she will advise the governor that this is purely wrong, it's unconstitutional. But now that he has been even decided by the Supreme Court.
But let's assume, yes. Okay, sorry, please finish with that.
By the Supreme Court, that it is clearly a breach by either the governor or the State House of Assembly to remove a democratically elected local government official.
The Supreme Court has
ruled on this. Has said that.
When was this ruled?
That was either 2 or 3 months ago. It's been said over and over again, even in Ekiti. When this Fayemi was the governor, he sacked the local government administration. And they went all the way from the lowest court to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said that it is wrong for any governor to wake up because that would be a clear breach of Section 7, which says that you must ensure democratically elected government officials at the local government level. That is what the Constitution enjoins. So if now you enact a law at the state level that gives the governor the power to now remove any local government chairman or councillor and all that is elected properly, then it is wrong.
So when a governor breaches the Constitution,
that's right,
and goes against a Supreme Court ruling,
yes,
by removing democratically elected local government officials,
it's an impeachable offense.
It's an impeachable offense.
Beautiful.
Impeachable by who?
By the State House of Assembly. That is a stooge. So you see, that is impracticable for the governor to be, unless where you have someone like Obasanjo who presides over Nigeria, who can constitute 3 or 4 members of the House to impeach a governor. If you don't have such, a powerful institution, person, you may never remove any governor who has breached the Constitution.
Is this a case for calling for intervention of the National Assembly?
What we need to do, sir, is that we have a problem that is fundamental. Maybe we'll come back another day. Our institutions are weak. We need to really define the institutions we want to have in the country and how to make them very strong in order for them to work, because our institutions are weak. They're not working. So it affects everything about us as a nation. If you don't have a strong judiciary, a strong National Assembly, even state, if you talk about National Assembly, are they strong enough? Can the National Assembly wake up now, and do certain things? Even, the present one, without being called to order. Okay. So what we're saying is that we must try and have strong institutions. Okay. Very key.
Aside from this being an impeachable offense,
yes,
what other punishment would be due for any governor that willy-nilly
the people can
breaches the Constitution?
Can punish the governor by not re-electing him if he has not, if he's coming for the second tenure. Can be. These are ways.
Some people will think that is far.
Oh, well, the point is that you have only impeachable. The governor cannot be sued. In his personal capacity, you can sue him.
Can the person be prosecuted after they've left office?
Of course,
for breaching the Constitution?
Somebody, not prosecute. The word prosecution may not be the right word unless he has committed a crime. But he can be sued.
Is this not an offense?
It's a civil offense. It's not a criminal offense. By breaching the Constitution, by usurping the function of local government, it's a civil matter.
No jail term, no fine.
No, there is no such. I don't think that it's not a criminal offense. But what I'm trying to say is that, even...
But it's an offense that has huge impact on people's
Yeah,
lives,
it's a civil matter.
everyday lives.
I agree with
it
you,
impacts on education, healthcare, housing,
Can I tell you something?
road accidents.
Sir, can I tell you something? The moment we get it right with show of leadership, who understand some of these principles we're enunciating, when they sit down and say, look, there is a grave implication in this. There is a grave implication in this. We should not tolerate this. You have leaders that sit down and think about this country. Nigeria will begin to function. That is why you see some judges, when they sit down and somebody comes with, a breach of fundamental human right of an individual, tells you, you have no right. I was reading a particular judgment 2 days ago by the Supreme Court, where an NGO went to court over an environmental degradation. And somebody came with the issue of locus, that they have no locus. The Supreme Court now has expanded it, that you as an individual now need not prove that you have suffered far and above every other person. The moment you can prove that there is a breach of the law, and you are a citizen, there is a breach of the law, and you want to remedy that particular breach, you can come to court now. It has been expanded now. Honestly, it's the latest edition of the Supreme Court. I want to write an article on it. By next week, I'm going to do that. So that all these NGOs and individuals, all these human rights lawyers can now know that there is no any more hindrance on you coming to court in order to ensure that the laws of the land is obeyed. That anyone who comes with the issue of locus has no right to any whatsoever, any more to hinder you from having access to judiciary, in order to redress some of these wrongs that have been going on in the country. So we must come to that level where everyone gets angry in this country. The judiciary gets angry, the president gets angry, the governor gets angry, those who are in the house gets angry and say we must have a country that is working. We've been abroad, we see how nations are working. Why is that ours are not working? So what do we do to get Nigeria working? We must strengthen our institution. We must begin to do things that are right. Unless we get people that are angry with the system, Nigeria will remain the way it is. I'm sorry, Nigeria will remain the way it is.
Absolutely. So I was even thinking that, judges, in the days you've covered and continue to cover politics, something Mr. Obani talked about, the fact that the electoral process at local government level is better imagined than seen in the ways. I mean, look, Lagos had the local government election sometime in 2011, and when we got to the hall for the announcement of the results, we just announced the result. We're still waiting for the breakdown of the results till today. It was just,
you see, Money Obani cannot be wrong, because you see, if you have covered local government election in Nigeria, you will know what he's talking about. What do we expect in the first place in a situation where the governor unpicked the head of the
electoral
commission? And do you know that? Let me shock you. On the election day, even candidates that are contesting for the local government chairman, do you know that they even visit the state electoral commission on the election day, that day? They are supposed to be in their houses until the election is over. So most of them, especially from the ruling party, they are always at the commission. So that tells you something. It tells you that what Monday is suggesting, I think is the way forward for this country. Let the National Electoral Commission conduct local government election. That is the way forward. And I will love to know from the chairman what your association, local government association,
AGO,
is doing with this issue that is causing controversy now. Are they in court to actually challenge all of these sacking of the local government chairman, and then to challenge the what the local government chairmen are doing despite the guideline given by the NFIU.
Yeah. So some of the steps we have taken is, it will shock Nigerians to hear that when the suspension came up, because it came from the House of Assembly, was a simple resolution, and we thought that it won't have an effect until when the governor appends his signature to it. So we were compelled, or we felt that we had to ignore it, because it was just the Assembly saying his own side of the story. So we went to office. Some of us were denied access to our office.
You were locked out?
We were locked out.
By who?
By some of the career officers on the directive of the state government. Some offices were taken over by political thugs.
So
right?
the state government went over you
Yeah.
to the civil servants,
Yeah.
political thugs.
Yeah. And as we speak right now, the state government is running the councils through through the civil servants who worked with us whilst we were in office. That is one point. The second point is
I don't like political exaggeration, but can this be likened to a coup against the local governments?
Well, it appears to be so. But by the time I conclude with my submission, I'm sure you'll be able to conclude on what it is. It might even be much more grievous than that. So we felt, okay, could it be because there's change of governor? We tried to approach the current governor. We wrote letters to him. Letters were acknowledged. As we speak right now, the governor has not said a word on this, on the suspension resolution.
You have tried to approach him.
We have tried to approach him. He has not given us any opportunity to see him. We have letters written to him.
And he has not said anything.
He has not said anything.
But
publicly.
the House has acted on his behalf.
Has acted on his behalf.
No, he ordered the freezing of your account.
Yeah.
You've forgotten that.
Yeah.
Story.
No, but what they did initially was to say, okay, we are freezing all of the accounts of the government in the state and local government. Then the next we start hearing after a month is that
this is an executive decision.
Yes. So we start hearing that spendings are going on the accounts. So our initial thought was, okay, maybe the governor wants to have an actual position of where he's taking over from. Okay, so let's stop all transactions for now. Take a week to look at the books, then we'll take it from there. As we speak right now, there's no directive saying we have unfrozen the account that we froze. So they are spending these accounts. We council chairmen believe the accounts have been frozen, but illegal spendings are going on the accounts.
So they froze the account,
removed
all of you, and commenced spending.
Spending on the accounts. Sadly also, if you understand how local government structure works, council chairmen or LCDA chairmen don't sign checks. We only sign what is called vouchers or schedules. And that is like an authority that goes to the bank with the checks.
To confirm that this is...
I know about this and this is valid.
Who signs the checks?
The treasurer and the DGSs, Director of General Services.
And those are civil servants?
Those are civil servants. So as we speak right now, monies are being withdrawn from our accounts.
Illegally,
because once we do not sign the vouchers or the schedules, they are legal with their withdrawals.
You are democratically elected.
Exactly.
Okay. Unfortunately, we have to take another commercial break.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's a commercial station.
Yeah.
So listeners, please stay with us. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment. Headline News on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
IMN leader Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaki and his wife Zinat have been taken into custody by security agents. Closing arguments on the presidential election petition of the tribunal has been set for the 21st of August. Police authorities in Lagos are set to arraign a woman identified as Onyinye Mbadike. Some Nigerians have again called on the federal government to scrap the National Youth Service Corps scheme, insisting the one-year exercise has over the years failed to further unite the country. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has led other senators to Daura to pay Salah homage to President Muhammadu Buhari. The governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has promised to support the 2019 Badagry Diaspora Festival, tagged Door of Return. Nollywood star Kate Henshaw has demanded the release of Sunusi Oscar, a movie director allegedly in prison in Kano, for releasing a music video. Several people have been injured in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, as police broke up an opposition demonstration. The world's biggest island, Greenland, has told the United States President Donald Trump that it is not for sale. FIFA has banned former Nigeria Football Federation official Samson Siasia for life after the body's ethics panel found him guilty of taking bribes in connection with match fixing. So the headlines on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Public Square continues. Please stay with us.
Let me tell you about Public Square. There are several lines that meet other edges.
The youth of this country who are already in a disillusioned, disenchanted state will be encouraged.
Where we talk about the fine margins. Sometimes it's black, white, and blurry.
It's also informed by the need to save costs and reduce legislative time.
And then there are the actors, right at the center, coming through political processes, which could be dramatic.
To be a state of dismal if Parliament does not rise this morning.
And controversial.
If driving through the roads is engaging the macabre, culpability is that of government.
And there's you to help connect the dots from the top to the bottom. Join Rotimi Sankore and Agogo Obo at the Public Square every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. 99.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, welcome back. And it's 4 minutes past 5, and everyone is still seated. And we're having a great discussion so far. Monday with Bani, Debayo Oshikomoya, Judges Mark Noblesy Do, and host Rotimi Sankore. So remember, you can join the conversation live. We're on Facebook as well as on Twitter. This is being streamed live on our Nigeria Info platform. I know a lot of messages coming in over the social media. Will let you into the conversation very soon. Rotimi.
Thanks, Aho. So if you are just joining us, what we're discussing is large-scale corruption involving seizure of local government funds by state governments. You will recall that earlier this year, the National Financial Intelligence Unit put out a notice stating that from June the 1st, state governments are no longer to interfere in local government funds, and that those funds should be spent only by local governments directly. So today, we are discussing the case of Ogun State, where roughly 10 days before the NFIU directive was to take effect, the new governor sacked all the democratically elected local government leaders. The 8th House of Assembly, just as it was leaving, moved the resolution on behalf of the executive, sacking all the local government leaders. Really bizarre. A house that its tenure was about to expire sacked democratically elected local government leaders whose tenure had not expired. And the same house had earlier, before the new governor was elected, given this same local government officials a pass mark. So Honorable Adeboya here says it's not a case of him and his colleagues whacking the local government money
At all.
because the same house had given you a pass mark. And once a new governor came in, that pass mark was set aside and you were sacked on the basis, or allegedly sacked on the basis of misconduct.
Gross misconduct.
Gross
and financial misappropriation of public funds.
And there was no evidence.
As we speak right now.
Okay.
In fact, for the suspension, let me also amaze you. We only heard about it on social media. As we speak right now, no council chairman in Ogun State has any formal document to hold on to showing that he or she has been suspended.
Okay, it will mean that they use the thug to chase you out of office.
Well, they use the government power.
So the House moved the resolution.
Yeah.
And then used, is it party apparatus or state government apparatus?
It's a combination of both.
To exclude all the elected leaders from the offices.
It's a combination of both. Because if you get to your office and you don't have access to your office, either because your office has been locked up, or you even have access to your office, for some of us, and documentations are being treated and it does not pass through your table. So you have no other option than to take your files and leave the office. Because if people are supposed to report
so even if you are able to enter the office and sit on your table,
and people who are supposed,
all the civil servants just ignore you.
So what do you
take
do?
Their instructions from the state government.
Exactly. There was in June. It's we have
and
records.
You can't go there and tell them, look, my friend, I'm in charge.
No, in June we have records where the governor himself approved spending for each of the 57 local government and LCDs to conduct environmental sanitation.
So it's actually worth pointing out, if you've just joined, that at stake is roughly 2 billion naira a month in local government funds. Okay, so while we were on break, I was looking at some of the messages, and we'll go to the phone lines in about 10 or 15 minutes. But I was looking at some of the preliminary messages for those watching on Facebook. And on the last point of INEC, before we went on the commercial break, I have some interesting responses here. Orim John says, involving INEC in conducting the election is the worst possible option. Henry Eregbo says, Barrister Obani, are you talking about the same INEC that cannot conduct free and fair election in Nigeria?
At the federal level, yeah.
Olusegun David Ajala says, this sounds like comedy. INEC itself cannot conduct free and fair election. Now, is it really true that INEC cannot conduct free and fair election at the national level? We had a spokesperson for INEC here a few weeks ago, and we put a lot of these questions to him. And he tried to answer and clarify to the best of his knowledge the challenges that they face. So, is it really fair to say that INEC, Monday, this is for you, is it really fair to say that INEC is unable to conduct fair and fair election at the national level?
Well, my candid view is that INEC has issues, and just like every other institution in Nigeria, but they are better if you compare them with the state electoral commission.
INEC is better than ISEC.
Yeah, at least you can have maybe 20 or 25% fairness in terms of credibility. I'm not talking I can't give them 40.
Because with INEC, opposition can win.
Yeah, opposition can win. I mean, we have had issues where opposition have won. Even the last election itself, opposition
won in many states.
But in the state owned,
many Senate seats, many House of Reps.
No, it's 10 over 0. It's always
100%
100%. Yes, it's always there's no particular state where opposition had ever won, even a single seat, in all the ones conducted by the State Electoral Independent Commission.
And even when this is the case,
even when opposition win, the ruling party dictates to the
to make sure that the different result is declared,
and they declare.
But even worse than that, apparently, from what we are seeing across the country now, even when the ruling party gets a clean sweep of all
the positions.
All the positions.
Yeah.
It appears as if they are not satisfied with the compliance of their own local government official in quote, they sack them and then appoint
new caretaker committee.
And appoint caretaker.
In fact,
because they feel the people are not complying quickly enough.
You know, my office is situated in Ikeja. the road Adegbola Street that leads to the secretariat. It takes you 10 minutes. That's supposed to under 1 minute. It takes you 10 minutes to get to my office from the same Adegbola Street. Clearly unpassable. You can't pass through that particular place. The one that leads to the local government secretariat itself, Adegbola Street. That's the Ikeja local government. All the roads are in Ikeja. And you expect that these are the work.
Let me tell you one joke. So one day I was going out with some people, and when we got to somewhere around that Ikeja under bridge.
Yes, under bridge.
The bridge that goes over Ikeja.
That's the road he's talking about.
Okay. So everybody shuffled to one corner, and the cars were going really slowly. So I said, what is happening? Why is everybody avoiding? This was after some rain.
Yeah, Obakra.
So we are told there is a crater on one side. The water has covered it. So those who know, those who know have shuffled to one side.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, one guy that apparently did not know and was in a hurry
and thinks he know
and thought he knew, just sped past
everyone.
This goes slow and just entered the thing, boo, and the car came to a complete standstill. And they came down, surrounded the car, and they were looking at it in shock, wondering what happened to their own car. It's like they were asking the car,
what happened to you?
What happened to you?
A major road.
And people were just going past them. Money. You didn't know.
You should have known.
You should have known that there is a crater there. And the guy was, the water covered it. Everybody was so sorry. So this is local government work.
Yes.
That's the point. That's what we're saying. The issue of governance, we get to every nook and cranny. In this country, if you have proper administration at the local government level, because the money that's supposed to be used by them are not, released to them. The governors misappropriated these monies. They use these monies for other purposes, and that's why they are doing this issue of illegality in electing a credible officials at that level. They know that if they're elected, they become accountable. You cannot remove them at your whim and caprice.
There is an important question we need to clarify.
Yes.
So shortly after the NFIU directive stating that state governments are no longer to interfere in local government funds, some of the state governors came out and said that the NFIU directive
was illegal.
And
they challenged it in court.
What's the status of that?
They lost at the court.
The governors lost in court.
They lost in court. They lost in court, and they have not gone on any appeal. I know the lawyer that handled the case. I'm in touch with the legal director of NFIU, and they are meant to enforce this law. I asked them to ensure, because there are a lot of pressures on them also to subpedal on the implementation of that directive, even by people that are the highest up. They want them to stop implementing it, but they say, look, we must. There is no other way for us to move as a nation if we cannot do the right thing. You ask yourself, the so-called joint account they are now saying must be observed with we shouldn't bend the rule. What is it meant for? Was that joint account meant for the governors to misappropriate? No, it was meant for a situation where it's like a collection center where the federal government allocation comes. Then you now bring the state allocation. Then
so
you now pass beautiful to the state, local government.
So instead of passing through,
it passes now by.
The state governments just sit on it.
Beautiful. And then now begin to spend.
And then claim that it is state local government
joint account.
You
see,
whereas it's a pass-through
beautiful.
account.
they will now forget the motive why that particular account was created. Also, for them to ensure that the money gets to the destination, because some of the local government chairmen also can be very mischievous and begin to misappropriate the money. But when you have a governor that is a man of integrity, he will ensure that that money is spent for the administration of local government. That's why they also make sure that there is a joint account where there will be some level of monitoring from the side of the state government over the fund that's supposed to go to local government. So that was the purpose. So it wasn't meant for them to spend. So it was a mistake we made, but we can also correct it. What that NFIU directive is all about, look, gentlemen, over time we have discovered that this money does not get to its destination. And we know the motive. We know the objective of the Constitution in creating that joint account. Can we, for God's sake, allow the motive to be enforced? That money should be given to these guys in order to spend for the people that are at the local government level, because everyone is a product of local government. You are from local government. Even Buhari himself is a product of local government. He's in the Aso Rock falls into a local government council. Abi? Yes. Everyone is, so all of us are product of local government. So let there be proper administration at that level.
Local government fails.
Yes.
A tracker will be here at some point.
Yes.
On Public Square.
Yes.
And I'm also thinking in the piece you did, Monday Ubani,
yes, sir,
about the accountability for local government, saying that they should show how much money comes in.
Yes.
How much money is being put out, as a way to say that we are being transparent in
that
the way
is it.
It's done. But many times we've had sort of suggestions, but it's been, I don't know,
observing breach,
whether he's been able to even do that with his LCDA.
The JEJ's government that we said was very corrupt. This woman that was the minister for finance was every month she will publish it in Punch, in all the national newspapers, so that you track how much your state is getting as federal government allocation, what your local government is getting. Now the government itself that claims to be transparent and all that government of is no longer publishing it. You have to now apply before they can give it to you. And so people don't even know what comes to the local government. So one of the ways of creating transparency is that let people know. Knowledge is very key. The moment government begin to hide information and all that, then they operate in an opaque manner and all that. That is a room for corruption. You are creating a room for corruption. So why don't they publish? Let us even know what is coming to my own local government. So I can now, tell my local government people, now that NIF directive have come in, ensure that the local government chairman that is there gets this money, and he must use this money for local government administration in your local government. So everyone begin to hold, all these guys are accountable. Let's not begin to talk about federal all time or begin to talk about state. Let's now begin to concentrate what goes at local government level. If we get it right, local government at state level, this country is going to be another. Exactly. I mean, get a country that is running, sir. That's what we're asking for.
So we were talking earlier about possible. I was asking,
yes, sir,
whether governors cannot be prosecuted. So let's look at where this has.
If they steal the money, sir, if they put their hand and it is proven that they put their hand into the till and steal the money that belongs to, of course, is a criminal offense. They will face it squarely at the end of the day.
And but my problem,
of course, my only problem is our judicial system again. The delay in the entire proceedings, is very discouraging. And sometimes people now resort to self-help, or they say we don't even believe in judicial system. So the early resolution of issues is one of the areas we have to deal with in administration of justice in Nigeria. There are delays, and those delays are very discouraging, and it doesn't help those even investors that want to come into the country. They look at your resolution of judicial issues. It takes how many years? I just got a judgment in a case that lasted for 13 solid years. 13 years of a land matter, and I got judgment. The defendant now wants to appeal, but God in his infinite mercy made it impossible that she slept before she knew it. I've already levied execution. She has come now for motion to set aside. You see, I'm wearing this and I'm just coming from court. God in his infinite mercy once again decided that the motion for stay, they called refused, and awarded 250,000 naira cash cost against the lawyer. So let's begin to have judicial system that is functional. We have a country that is working. 13 years to resolve an issue. 13 years.
Let's go to another part of the country. So in places like Borno and Zamfara,
yes,
where the NFIU report underlines that the lack of absence of local government there is what has led to serious conflict, insecurity, massive loss of lives. And on top of that massive loss of lives, millions displaced and billions of dollars in military deployment and purchase of hardware. In this kind of scenario, where clearly state governors are responsible for a war situation. The NFIU report states it there that they are responsible for that war situation, more or less.
Yeah.
What actually happens there?
See what happened. Immediately the money comes in. They have studied the forex market. Immediately they collect this money. They go to change them in dollars. You know that before they came up with that directive, they studied the market. They discovered that these guys are using this money even in empowering the all the people that are causing havoc in our security system. That this money was disappearing. How do these people buy these weapons they are using in fighting Nigerians? They found out that these guys change this money to dollar, all of a sudden it disappears, and there is no. The North is the worst, sir. When we're talking about issue of misappropriation and stealing of public funds, especially the local government funds, there is no local government administration in all the entire North.
Well, the local government officials, to the best of my knowledge and all the reports I have seen, they don't reside in the local government.
They reside in the town.
The bandits and the extremists are taking over.
Beautiful.
So
there
between the capital and Abuja,
I agree with. There's not even single local government in all those places, especially in Northeast. So what they do, these monies, they change them to dollars and they disappear. Where does it go to? So that's why those guys carried out analysis and all that. And then internationally, they have studied also our financial system and told NFIU there is a problem with your country. You guys go and tidy up your financial system. It's very porous.
That's not fixing this. It's creating a haven for
extremism. In every aspect, all these guys, where do they get the money?
They don't have a launch pad for international operations.
That's why they came up with that directive that you don't spend more than 500 in a day. So they want to 1,000. They want to watch where this money is going to. They monitor. I hope they have the facility to monitor this, this expenditure, how the money goes, because they can also.
Well, it's just 2 months.
They can.
July and August.
They can also, Nigerians. When you make a law, what these leaders sit down to do is how do we breach this law? How do we observe it in breach? They find a way, loopholes. So if you say 500, these guys can be withdrawing 500 every day. Before you know it, 500,000 every day, they will finish the money. So the point is that where does it go to? They also have to monitor who is the beneficiary. Where does the money go to and all that. If you monitor the money, you get to the sort that these monies are being used sometimes to finance even the insurgency.
Let's try and take 2 or 3 phone calls before we go for the ad break. But before we do that, INEC is getting some support on Facebook. Alagbe Olabisi Said says, if INEC conducts the LG elections, it will reduce the influence of the state governors on the choice of the selected leadership at the LG level. So,
yes,
at least somebody is saying that INEC's role may be more positive.
The good thing about INEC conducting it is that, you see, the grassroots is the strength of the state.
That's right.
And the leadership, the party leadership at the state understands that if they can capture the grassroots, then the next election, the subsequent election will be easier for them. But if INEC conduct the local government election, they are not sure of winning all the councilorship or of winning all the chairman.
Let's try and squeeze in 1 or 2 calls before the ads.
Yes. Okay.
Some people that know the numbers have started calling. We can announce the numbers again after the.
All right.
Let's try and squeeze in since people have decided.
Okay. So who do we have there?
Hello. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon. Please speak up and fast.
This is Mr. Vincent from Papa.
Okay, Mr. Vincent from Papa. Can you do it in 1 minute?
Yes, thank you to you guys, Rotimi and Co there.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've always said it. From what you guys are doing out here and the ones we know, Nigeria is the mega. In fact, we guys are coming down to the down below, but from where we copied this, the democracy is up for Tom. So the problem now is even the INEC guys from the federal you guys are talking about, they are a bunch of something else, and that is the fundamental in Nigeria. If we cannot get anything about election right,
all right, we got you. Let's try and squeeze in someone else, huh? All right. Hello.
Rotimi.
Hello,
Barrister
welcome to
Obani
Public Square. Who's
and
calling?
Arrowo.
Yeah.
Thank you. Davo calling.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
From
Davo.
where?
Yes, Davo from Lekki.
Okay, welcome to Public
I
Square.
actually read local government administration at the University of Jos.
So you are a specialist.
Especially, to be sincere,
Okay.
I read extensively about the 1976 local government reform headed by Obasanjo and Murtala government.
That's right.
Okay.
And the truth is that I always argue with people that what Fashola did in Lagos, like all the cleanup of Lagos State, all those flowers that he planted, that is the work of the local government.
That's true. That's
It's
true.
not even the state.
I agree.
Look at the local government. I read that they patch road and they even street light.
Yeah.
There are so many things that the local government are supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And
Include
the truth
security.
is that the local government is a third tier level. And Barrister Obani has spoken extensively, wonderfully well. And I really thank you guys for this. Continue to educate Nigerians. The truth is that the way Nigeria is today has been designed in a way that all these leaders, including Obasanjo, Buhari, and all the ex-generals, they have designed Nigeria in a way that they want to be there, they want to rule, and their children will be ruled. Because Shehu Yaradua died, they compensated his family with Musa Yaradua. Obasanjo, when Abiola died, they compensated Yoruba with Obasanjo instead of Olufalaye. So there are so many things that I want you guys to keep talking. Let us educate Nigerians. I am from the north. I am not happy with what has been going on. Even with this Boko Haram thing that is happening, there's a very strong political indication to it. I even thank God that even the security agencies are fighting themselves today. The truth is that I have even called radio before.
Should we
that
be
there are so many
thanking
people who
God
died.
for that?
No, what I'm saying
I'm
is
not
that
sure we should be thanking God that the security agencies are fighting each other.
Okay, let me state my reason. I am from Jos. Since 2001, we have been crying that there are people who have been hired. In fact, some of them are even security agencies who normally go and do the killing. That's why you have never had any arrest till today. Even if you want to go and arrest now, I bring out my ID card. Definitely, it's a government agency. So there are so many secrecy that I'm not supposed to be coming out to talk on radio, but innocent people, life have died. So I want a better Nigeria. Like people like all these Showore, Mogalu, those are people I want. I am from the north, but I prefer a president that can speak. Look at now, there's no presidential media type. Do you know that with all these things you people are mentioning now, if there's a journalist from Wazobia or from 99.3 that will be taken to the Asoro to ask questions to the president should be in better position to be asking or to be answering all those things. And then the tough question should be answered. Now there's no presidential media type. There are so many secrecy that have been hidden. And I am praying, I believe that this Nigeria will work again.
The man studied local government in university, so we've had the benefit of the 4 years of his degree now. We have to take a break for ads now, Abi.
Yes, we'll take the break for ads.
And then we'll come back straight to the phone lines. We promise you 30 minutes of phone interaction. Please stay tuned. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
More talk, news, and sports after this. time to go back in time and experience the power of music as it blasts you straight to the past.
Hello, music and moment. Thank you. This song. Secondary school. You and I.
All right, welcome back and continue from exactly where we stopped. The numbers very quickly again: 012770993, 012771993, 012772993, 012773993. Call us, tell us what you think about local government on administration. Our number on WhatsApp: 08095975805. Again, 08095975805. That's on WhatsApp only.
All right, so thanks, Alho. So straight back to the phone lines, and let's see. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Welcome to the public square.
My name is Emmanuel.
Okay, and where are you calling from?
I'm from Ogun State.
From where?
From Ogun State.
Ogun State.
From Ogun State.
Yeah.
All right. So you have a question for Monday Adebayo, or you have a comment?
Just a comment.
Okay. Can you do it in 1 minute, please?
It has become a norm to the whole country that the local government election belongs to the state governor. If you remember early this year, when they were the Buhari government trying to make the local government autonomous, many state governors kick against it.
Yeah.
Because they want to be controlling everything in that state. So if like now, I was a victim in my state, from Delta State, when I went to contest for that election, the governor just selected people and put them there.
That's all.
So such person, it can fire you any day, anytime, because he put you there. You are not elected. So if somebody was complaining that because the governor just put them out one thing or the other, it's because the same way they put them in there. If they were voted, they can welcome challenge the
All right.
governor.
Thank you.
That's my question.
Okay. Adebayo, did the governor put you there?
No.
The answer was election.
We went through an election. In fact, we had our election on 8th of October 2016. Our tenure is supposed to end 9th of October 2019. Just a few months away.
So they couldn't wait.
So
they couldn't wait.
2 billion a month.
So much money.
Okay. Let's go back to the phone lines. Hello? 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 Hello?
Please turn down the volume of your radio. Switch it off so we can have a conversation.
Can you switch off your radio, or do we go to someone else? Yeah.
Doesn't want to hear.
The man. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to Public Square. Who's calling and from where?
This is Rotimi from Idimu.
Okay.
You see, there are two tiers of government in Nigeria, the federal and state. The idea of turning local government to a third tier is a fraudulent step that can never bring Nigeria any good. What do I mean?
You are against the existence of local governments?
I'm a journalist, right?
Answer the question. Are you against the existence of local governments?
Can I explain what I mean?
Okay,
look,
explain.
How can I be against it? Look, but if you look at the old system before Obasanjo changed the whole thing in 1976, the federal government cannot come from Abuja and be dictating to Lagos how many local government can create. Look, again, when Obasanjo came back in 2003, what did he do? He prevented Lagos, which is the most economically profitable state. He prevented Lagos from having excess local government to solve its problem. And the governor then told the federal government, look, and the local government were rightly created by the state assembly, which is supposed to be in charge. So how can you bring National Assembly to be legislating for state? It's a misnomer. Look, when Obasanjo was there during his first term, he bought a Jeep Prado 774 and told even riverine local governments from Ilaje, from Delta, to come to Abuja and queue for it. Look, all this the responsibility of making laws for local government is vested by the constitution in the state assemblies. So this idea.
Can I ask you this question again? Are you for or against the independence of local governments?
The independence of the local government.
Are you for or against the autonomy?
Let me tell you what.
We know you are a journalist, but answer the question: are you for or you are for autonomy of local government?
Yes, but it cannot be made an autonomous body that will be controlled by the. Look, Kano has 44 local government before Jigawa was carved out of it.
Are you mixing up things?
He's mixing up things.
I'm not.
Yes,
maybe you are the one doing it.
You are the one mixing up issues, my brother. You know,
I'm not.
Can you hear us now? Can we say something?
Yes.
Monday, please.
You are quarreling with the issue of creation. And that is what I understand you. Now, the federal government is the one doing the funding of the local government. Hello, sir. Hold on. Just listen now. Listen, sir. Now, listen.
In conclusion, let me make my conclusion before.
Just hold on. Let Monday comments. Then you can continue.
So he's quarreling with the issue of creation, and we're saying, look, the federal government says if you want to create your local government, then you cannot be talking about funding from us. Are you following me?
Yes.
You have to do the funding yourself. But by the way, in the constitution, we recognize only 774. If you want to create a local government that will be recognized by you have to amend the constitution itself.
Yes,
and who will amend the constitution? It's the National Assembly that will, without state assembly. So that's where the National Assembly comes in the creation of the local government. It's not as if they are, you have to amend the constitution. Exactly. And so that's why the Supreme Court says it's incoherent. The creation of local government by the state government is incoherent because the National Assembly still have to amend the constitution alongside beautiful.
Hence the LCDA.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So let's not mix up issues. I agree with you that a state like Lagos State is supposed to have more local government, and all that. But then if you are not asking the state to go and create, who is going to do the fund? Because the fund is still coming from federal. If you go and create up to 200, you now want the federal to be giving them the same amount of money they are giving all other local government. So let's maybe organize it from the beginning. Let's now say all local government now should be resident, be done by the state, and then they do all the funding and do everything and all that. Let's start from that way. But as long as you are being funded by the federal government, you cannot be allowed to just go and bring it to create without the federal government input. It's not possible.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, welcome to the public square.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Osamo is my name. I'm calling from Ikeja.
Okay. Welcome.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Comments or question from Monday or Adebayo?
Yeah, I would rather ask a question and equally make a little comment.
Okay.
So what I would say is, because when it comes to this issue of local government, I believe that the problem of local government starts from election. When we talk of autonomy, when states are allowed to conduct elections for local government, I was thinking, is it not possible that the local government election takes place side by side with, as we do the general election, the gubernatorial election, we equally do the state, the local government
election. And be conducted by INEC?
I conducted by INEC. Okay. So that the local government will not be an appendage to the state governors anymore. Because that is where the problem. I think that is my thinking, though.
Okay.
That's where I think the problem lies.
That has been made. But thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Welcome to the public square.
This is Folavi calling from Ikoyi.
Okay, thank you. We'd like to hear people from Ogun State. We want to hear from you.
I want to ask this question.
Yes, please.
This is about this local government issue. Lagos State, actually Lagos State is using like almost 60-something local government. And in my own local government that I stay in Ikoyi, my chairman was imposed to people like who doesn't do any election to the local government. They just impose it on our head. Even when it came to our place, like in Barrack, if you try to tell you something, say like we let us say, okay, you people will not put me there now, so go and do anything you wanted to do. So I want these bros to just enlighten us.
Okay. It's not clear what
when he was talking about the issue of democratically elected, and the independence of these people, that's supposed to head the local government administration, that most of them are stooges of the governor, and as long as they're appointed, they don't owe you any responsibility whatsoever. They owe only to the governor who pays the piper, that takes the tool. Okay. So there's no responsibility. Yes.
Other people have made as well. Hello.
Hello. Good
Hello.
evening, Sankore.
Good evening. Welcome to the public square.
Yeah. This Ezekiel, I'm calling from Epe.
All right. Welcome.
Yeah. It is said that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is quite inevitable. We have custodians of law in the studio there. Please, because in the course of the conversation, I heard that the matter has been taken. Some matters related to this has been taken to court, but at the end of the day, nothing to show for it. I want the barrister to tell us.
There is something to show for it. He clarified earlier. He can do so again. There is something to show for it.
Is when the rule of law is not being obeyed, that is calling for anarchy.
That's right.
Okay, so he's referring to this confusion about whether the NFIU directive is constitutional or not.
What has been given?
Yes.
What can the rule of law prevail in this country?
Okay,
it's a very big question.
Please let Monday recap on it so that we can go to the next call.
Yeah, with the NFIU directive, as I said earlier, is constitutional. The court has agreed with it. So this issue of circumventing that.
So the court has ruled against the state governors.
Yes, and then the issue that the the governors have no right to sack elected local government officials or the state house assembly. That also has been upheld by the Supreme Court, and so that is the law today in Nigeria. So any governor that is
suspended, in other words, Mr. Adebayo and his colleagues, that sack is illegal.
Clearly illegal.
According to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, according to the Supreme
Court.
So
the governor is in breach.
Yes, he is clearly in breach. Clearly in breach.
All right, so I hope that is.
And we wrote him a letter believing that he should have acted on that letter, responding to call these guys back or even call for discussion. Up to now, they have snubbed every person and say we can, because they know about the judicial system, how long it takes. But no matter how long, we will get to the root of this at the end of the day.
Okay. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to the public square.
Thank you very much. My name is Prince.
Okay. Prince calling from?
From Ikeja.
All right.
Okay, my own contribution goes in two routes. One, I think there has to be a fundamental constitutional change
to
really empower local governments, and such that I would even advocate that we scrap state governments.
To scrap what?
It's better
state government. He wants to go for two-tier government, federal and local government.
And have a strong local government where they can connect directly with the populace. I mean, for example, the previous governor in Lagos State, Fashola, just imagine he was a local government chairman and the exploits he would have performed. And look at all the people that are leaders today. Imagine them having hold on some of these local governments. We would have better representation. As far as I'm concerned, when the local governments are well empowered and they perform, we really don't need the states to run all these things for us. I know my local government chairman, when there are issues, I can walk down the street to his house and we can discuss. But where the issue of the state governors have come in, it has become like they have become emperors. And that's why they can do whatever they like. So if we're going to go back to that constitution and scrap state government, and let's have local governments directly, they would handle issues better. Nigeria is a large country.
We've heard you. Thank you. So,
thank you very much.
So, but one day, is he calling for a unitary?
Yeah, no, there are countries that are running their own administration the way he has just the federal and then the unit, the local government unit and all that. And
is that unitary?
Yeah, well, yeah, we can be unitary, yes, but it depends on the type of system you run. If you devolve some powers to the units, then you cannot call it unitary anymore. It is now federalism. You cannot cooperate even with two systems. Two tier
federal, local government.
Yes, yeah. There are countries
countries that are doing that. I see Australia, or there are countries that are operating that system. But there is nothing wrong even operating three-tier. But allow each to do their duty. That's what we're saying. Look, if the local government is allowed and the state is allowed, the federal is allowed, you find a country that is fine, a country that is running well. America is running it. America is running the three-tier system, and it's working. To the extent that even security is provided by the university. The university is autonomous when it comes to the issue of security. So we can experiment these things and let it work. The only thing that makes Nigeria not to work is that we don't allow our laws to work, which is what somebody has raised. Obedience to law. If we obey our law, this country will be like heaven here on earth.
And it's all about resource control.
You control your resources.
We can take in some messages on WhatsApp, because we've gotten several messages flooding on WhatsApp already. Good evening, Public Square. Please, Barrister Obani, as much as I support the idea of restructuring and making institutions work effectively without federal government or president's involvement, in your humble opinion, what would you suggest, knowing that the system can't work except through radical moves from civil society? From Maru in Ojo. He explained that one. Hello, sir. Do suspended chairmen still get paid salaries? Ogun State LG CDA. This one has asked.
Adebayo, are you still receiving?
After we wrote them letter and served them the court process, they just paid them 1 month salary.
I'll come to that.
It's okay. INEC again calling for inconclusive drama. Question from Idara in Lekki. On comparative terms, LG elections are better conducted by INEC than state SECs. State governors should have leverage to sack appointed local government chairmen than the duly appointed ones. Tony Anele from Ijagemo. This is a beautiful discussion. If I had known about this, I would not have left my local government and state. I have learnt a lot.
They're live. They're supposed to be live there.
I am totally amazed that this abuse is coming from Ogun State. A new governor that just came in riding on the back of goodwill of the people to turn around and abuse laid down procedure is disappointing. More from Egbeda. You allowed the local government administration man to speak for just 5 minutes. Why wouldn't you not allow others over 1 minute?
The local government experts are called. Well, because he's an expert. You see, so from time to time, somebody calls and has some expertise. So. Moderators.
They're human beings too.
Yes. You allow some people to have. So please, my serious apologies.
Okay, the messages are still coming in, but I guess we'll take them later before me.
All right. So Adebayo.
Okay. So.
So from when you are suspended till now, how many months' pay have you received?
2. Okay. So we need to let a lot of people understand what is happening. We were voted to carry out constitutional responsibilities. The salary is 229,000. I left a much paying
a month.
Yeah, that's the salary. That's what we earn in Ogun State. So I left a much paying job to go and serve my people. We are making so much noise because we have been incapacitated from delivering on our promises to the people. So if the state government is trying to be clever, but I have to say, okay, I'm paying your salary. It's not so much about the salary, and we've been asking them, do you pay people who are on suspension salaries? So it will eventually still work against them.
That's right.
We're not working, and you're giving us salaries.
So initially you are suspended without pay.
Then our lawyer wrote, then salaries started coming out. So it's one of the claims our lawyers have made. We are saying, give us an opportunity to serve the people. It's first about the service. Leave the salaries out of it.
And you've said earlier that for some of the suspended local government chairs, they've been locked out completely.
Locked out.
But even when you are able to get into the place, the civil servants acting on directive of the state
will not give you anything to treat.
They just bypass you.
Yes.
And you can't go to them and say, my friend, I'm the democratically elected chair.
You can't do that.
When you say that to them, what happens?
You'll be ignored. You'll become a laughing stock. You're not going to want to do a work and be struggling for files with someone.
Exactly.
So these are facts that Nigerians need to understand.
So Monday, when civil servants like that breach the law,
Well, you know,
what happens to them?
They always tell you that they're acting on directive, right?
But they are breaching the law. Are they aware they are breaching?
They are aware, but they have somebody that is backing them up. And of course, when they do most of these things, you know, they feel that nobody will ever touch them. They don't even feel they will even leave power at any point in time.
What's the punishment for civil servants that act like that?
To me, that is
ignore democratically elected people and turn to somebody that has breached the constitution.
Clearly, it's a breach of the constitution. It's a breach of the law. It's unlawful. It's illegal. They know it. But because of the fact that at that point in time there is somebody that is backing them, that is in power.
Okay, let's forget about whether somebody is backing them now.
Yes.
What is the punishment for civil servants that ignore elected officials?
You ask yourself, who is going to initiate the punishment procedure? Who is going to initiate it?
Is there a law that says there is a punishment?
Yes, there are laws. There are laws. If you disobey a proper directive coming from a constituted authority, you know, remember the constituted authority man. Of course, that is clearly illegal. For which you can be punished, you can be dismissed, you can be suspended, you can also your appointment can be terminated. These are procedures, you know, in civil service.
So if Adebayo goes to his local government now and says to the senior civil servants there, he was duly elected, and if they are not going to follow directives of the democratically elected, he's suspending them. What happens?
He make a fool of himself. They will bundle him out. In fact, they will call security to bundle him and beat him up. So you don't go and do that. That would be embarrassment to yourself, to your personality. So why would you go and try it?
Because the executive...
there is where power lies at, at that level. So you know it. So you must respect yourself. So the only place you can run to now is the court.
So this is not a gangster situation.
Yeah, of course. That's the way we operate here. That's how we roll, man.
Yeah.
That's how we roll.
Let's try and take one or two more calls. A lot of people have been trying to. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Good day, sir.
Welcome to the Public Square.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's calling and from where?
Okay, my name is Michael from Lekki.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you do it in a minute, please?
Yes, there's urgent need to restructure the way the local government is run. But I don't think that the problem is with the state. I think where the problem lies is with federal. There's so much power at the center. The resource control should be handed over to either the local government or the state. Because I don't understand why an area, local government will have natural resources like deposits, solid mineral deposits. Then the federal will now be the one that will take the money and then to now remit back to the local government. It impacts on the level.
Okay. That's a separate but related matter.
Yeah, it's a different point. But the point is, the small percentage, let's even assume the small percentage that is being given to you from the federal. How have you utilized it? Yeah. So that if you now have the 100%, if you have the entire 100%, can you manage it well when you cannot even manage 1%?
Okay. We're not even practicing the real federalism in Nigeria. If you say US,
I agree with you. But what we're practicing, the one we are practicing, are you even practicing it well? Even the 41 you are practicing. That's the issue, sir.
Let's try and squeeze in one more call before we run out of time. Thank you. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Okay, last caller. Can you do it in a minute?
This is Peter from Ikorodu.
Okay, thank you.
I want to ask Mr. Adebayo, what are the financial situation look like during the Amosu government? And I want to believe also that the same system that was operating by all governors is the same system that brought Adebayo to the power. They are selected and not elected.
Well,
so
we've asked him that question.
No, he has not answered.
Okay, Adebayo, your democratic election, were you an imposed candidate?
I have a certificate of return. Hold on. I went through an election. And the election was contested
What is the total vote cast for you in your local government?
I had over 4,000 votes.
4,000 votes. How many people in your local government?
We have over 7,000.
In your local government?
Yes.
7,000?
Yes.
I beg to differ.
Are you from there? Are you from there? What are your facts? What are your facts?
Let me tell you something. The same system brought you in.
What local government?
Yeah, okay,
What local government am I from? Hold on. What local government am I from?
I don't know.
So why you begging to
the man? So there is a program that comes after this called I beg to differ. It's possible he has been listening a lot.
Hello. Let them tell us.
Peter, we're out of time, Peter. We'll have to.
I'll come to that.
We don't have any time again.
All right. So just answer quickly.
Okay,
government.
let me respond to what you were
You have to
asking.
answer in 30 seconds.
Yes. We have not said everything was perfect under Amusu.
Yeah.
And we kept complaining. We made demands of Amusu. But for a government who was just coming on board and made so much promises about empowering local governments, we would have expected that the first shot this governor would take would be to repeal all of those laws that incapacitated the local governments and not come and suspend them.
That's all we can take. We've run out of time.
No final word even from me.
Okay, 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
We're already in court over this particular matter. I believe that the judicial system will actually resolve. But if you can sit down and resolve this issue politically and all that, we're for it. I want these guys to go back to the office and complete their tenure. It's only October. We are now in August, so only 1 month and they move.
If you miss the program, you can go to Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3, watch it. Also on Twitter, at Nigeria Info FM. If you have any question that you wanted to ask that we didn't answer, ask me at Rotimi Sankore. Monday Ubani is on Twitter at
Onyeka Ubani.
Onyeka Ubani. Ahoho is there at Ahoho Obo Adebayo.
At Adebayo Shikomaya.
Okay.
At
And judges.
Mark Nobson.
He's the only sent here. All right. Join us next Friday, 4 p.m.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, we'll be back in a moment.